Hey everyone, welcome back to Instrumentation Lectures. In the last video, we had started our discussion on medium resistance measurement, and so far we have covered ammeter voltmeter method, Wheatstone bridge method, and substitution method. In this video, we will learn the next method, which is ohmmeter method. So let's start our lecture. An ohmmeter is a convenient direct reading device for measurement of resistance. The working principle of ohmmeter is very simple. To understand that, let's first see the connection diagram of a simple ohmmeter. We have the unknown resistance Rx connected in series with an ammeter and a battery E of known value. So the value of this is known. This ammeter can be a PMMC meter. Now in many cases, you might hear that an ohmmeter uses d'Arsnoval meter. This is also correct because d'Arsnoval meter is just another name for a PMMC meter. Okay, now the idea is simple. We uses Ohm's law. Here E is a known value and the value of current I through the circuit can be observed from the ammeter. Therefore, using Ohm's law, the value of unknown resistance Rx is equal to E by I. Now let's dive into the details. First thing we need to see is how the scale of this meter looks like. This is an ammeter. So the left side of the scale indicates low value of current, that is 0 ampere. And the right side of the scale indicates some high value of current, let's say 10 ampere. But our objective is to measure unknown resistances. Therefore, we have to mark the scale in terms of resistances. So let's do that. When Rx is infinite, that is, when Rx is open circuited, no current flows through the circuit, right? So the value of current is 0, that is, I is equal to 0. Therefore, this side of scale, that is, current is equal to 0, can be marked as resistance is equal to infinite. Now, as we move right to the scale, the current value is increasing. That means the resistance value is decreasing. So, this side of scale will be marked with some lower value of Rx. But what is this lower value? Obviously, it is desirable that this indicates Rx equal to 0. This is the desirable condition. So, what we usually do is, we add additional resistances to the circuit to ensure that this is the case. We will study about this later. So one important thing we should note is that unlike ammeters or voltmeters where the scale increases from left to right, in the case of ohmmeters, the scale increases from right to left. Always keep this in mind, okay? Okay, now we need to calibrate other points in the scale. Let's start with the center point. So we need to find for what value of unknown resistance Rx the pointer points to the center of the scale. For this, let's redraw the connection diagram, but now with more details. Remember that all practical batteries have some internal resistance Ri. Similarly, the ammeters will also have some internal resistance Ra. Also, the connecting wires will have some resistance, and then there is contact resistances and lead resistances. Let's denote all of them as Rz. Now let's add all these resistances together and call it as total internal resistance denoted by Ri. So we have total internal resistance Ri equal to Ri plus Ra plus Rz. Also for the time being, let us assume that at full scale deflection, that is at the extreme right of the scale, Rx is equal to 0. Okay. Now using Ohm's law, the current in the circuit at any moment I can be written as I is equal to E by R unknown plus R internal. That is total internal resistance. And let's name it as equation number 1. Now when Rx is equal to 0, the pointer is at the extreme right of scale. That is, the meter shows full scale deflection. So we can write at Rx equal to 0, we have I equal to I full scale deflection equal to E by Ri, because Rx is equal to 0. And let's name it as equation number 2. Now let's see the case where Rx is equal to Ri. Then the value of current I is equal to E by Ri plus Ri, because Rx is equal to Ri, and this is equal to E by 2 Ri. But here in equation 2 we have seen that E by Ri is equal to I full scale deflection. So we can write it as I full scale deflection by 2. So finally we get I is equal to I full scale deflection by 2 when Rx is equal to Ri. So this is the case where when Rx is equal to Ri. Therefore, when Rx is equal to Ri, the deflection will be half the full scale deflection. This means that the pointer will be at the center of the scale. So we can mark the center point as Rx equal to total internal resistance Ri. Now let's see this 1/4 point of the scale. Since PMMC meter has a linear scale, this point corresponds to I full scale deflection by 4. Similarly, this point corresponds to I full scale deflection by 2. And this is IFSD. Okay, so here we have IFSD by 4. Therefore, IFSD by 4 equal to E by Rx plus Ri, and using equation number 2 we have IFSD equal to E by Ri. Therefore, substituting this IFSD by E by Ri gives us 1 by 4 into E by Ri is equal to E by Rx plus Ri. We can cancel out these E's, which leaves us with Rx equal to 3 times Ri. That is, 1/4 of the full scale deflection corresponds to 3 times the total internal resistance of the circuit. So let's mark it in the scale. This point corresponds to Rx equal to 3 times Ri. Similarly, let's quickly find out the resistance marking at this point of the scale. This point corresponds to 3 by 4 IFSD. Thus we have 3 by 4 IFSD equal to E by Rx plus Ri, and proceeding just like before we can write 3 by 4 into E by Ri equal to E by Rx plus Ri, and solving this we get Rx equal to Ri by 3. So this point corresponds to Rx equal to Ri by 3. Now if we look at the resistance scale of this meter, we can see that the scale is non-uniform, right? So let's ask a question. For which region of the scale we can measure the resistance with good accuracy? Let's analyze that. So I am dividing the scale into 3 regions. This is region A, this is region B, and this is region C. Also, for the purpose of explanation, I am assuming that total internal resistance Ri is equal to 1 kilo ohm. So this point corresponds to 1 kilo ohm, this point corresponds to 3 kilo ohm, and this corresponds to 1 by 3 kilo ohm. So you can see that all the resistances in the range 3 kilo ohm to infinity lies in this small region of the scale, that is region A. This means that we cannot take fine readings in this region due to low resolution. For instance, Say we want to measure 50 kilo ohm and 51 kilo ohm. If the 50 kilo ohm point lies here, then the 51 kilo ohm point lies very close to it. So it is difficult to distinguish 50 kilo ohm from 51 kilo ohm. Therefore, as a note we can say that it is very difficult to read any high resistance value with high accuracy using ohm meter. Now let's see this region C. Even though it covers 1/4 of the total scale, just the resistances in the range 0 to 1/3 kilo ohm lies here. This means that the markings in the scale are spread apart here. For instance, let's say we are measuring 1 ohm. So this is 1 ohm point. And since the scale is spread apart here, we'll be having 1.1 ohm, 1.2 ohm, 0.9 ohm, 0.8 ohm, etc. marked in the scale. So let's say this is 1.1, this is 1.2 ohm, this is 0.9 ohm, and this is 0.8 ohm. So while taking measurement, there is high chance of human errors like parallax errors. So let's say instead of 1 ohm, you read the measurement as 1.1 ohm. Then the percentage relative error in this case is percentage RE is equal to 1.1 minus 1 ohm by 1 ohm into 100, which is 10%. And this is a very high relative error. Thus we can conclude that it is very difficult to read low resistance values with high accuracy using ohm meter. So if you are using ohm meters for measurement of resistances, it is best to choose ohm meters whose total internal resistance Ri is comparable with the resistance to be measured. This ensures that the measurement will occur at the central region of the scale where the readings are not too crowded and also the relative error is less. Therefore, as a note, we can say that the central region of the scale is the ideal region where the accuracy of readings are best. Okay, so once again, based on 3 notes, we can say that we get accurate readings only on the central part of the scale. Also, the central point of the scale reads magnitude equal to the total internal resistance of the ohm meter. Therefore, we should choose our ohm meters in such a way that their total internal resistance is comparable with the unknown resistance whose value is to be measured. But even in this case, the accuracy is not as high as Wheatstone bridge method or ammeter voltmeter methods. So, ohm meters are mainly used for getting approximate resistance of circuit components like heater elements or machine field coils. It is also used in laboratories as an aid to a precision bridge, as it can help to know the approximate value of resistance, which can save time in balancing the bridge. Now before ending the lecture, there is one thing that needs to be known, and that is ohm meters only function correctly when measuring resistances that is not being powered by a voltage or current source. In other words, you cannot measure resistance with an ohm meter on a live circuit. The reason for this is simple. The ohm meter is constructed on the assumption that the only source of voltage is its internal battery. The presence of any other voltage across the resistance will interfere with the operation of ohm meter. It might even destroy the ohm meter. That's all for this lecture. So to summarize what all we learned in this lecture, ohm meters contain internal sources of voltage to supply power in taking resistance measurements. Then we learned that the scale of an analog ohm meter is backwards, that is, the scale increases from right to left. Then, analog ohm meters have nonlinear scales which are expanded at the low ends of the scale and compressed at the high ends. Also, analog ohm meters are not precision instruments. Then finally we learned that ohm meters shall never be connected to an energized circuit during measurement. Now, if you have any doubts, feel free to ask them in comments so that either me or some other viewer can help you. Also, if you found the lecture useful, please like the video and support us by subscribing to the channel. In the next video, we will learn more about ohm meters. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.